Episode 1, Pause If You Must, But Don't Stop. Welcome to Episode 1 of Hollows, our often political yet always heartfelt podcast, exploring the multifaceted dimensions of doula education and practice. Brought to you by the faculty, students, and community of the Doula Studies program here at Fanshawe College. Just a reminder, views expressed are those of our guests and our hosts and do not necessarily represent those of Fanshawe College. I'm Jody, your co-host for Episode 1, joined in studio here with Crystal. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the trailer, we suggest you begin there. We recently had the rare opportunity to bring together all 6 faculty members of the Doula Studies program at Fanshawe College to look back over the past 10 years and think ahead to what comes next. It was a rich and wide-ranging conversation, and we've divided it across a series of episodes.
We're starting with a retrospective because at the time of this recording, we are about 2 weeks away from the incredible milestone of graduating the 10th cohort of Doula Studies students. While we had a vision in mind those early days, we really were taking a leap into the unknown. We also didn't anticipate everything that came our way, but even with sweeping change and uncertainty, we never wavered from what makes this program so special: our values and commitment to our community and doula work. People often ask what makes this program different. Part of the answer is our faculty, and the other part is that they know what students are walking into because we've been in their shoes. So on that note, let's begin by jumping into the conversation, introducing our amazing team here in the Doula Studies program. So I'm Crystal, and I've been teaching in the Doula Studies program for 9 years, but I've been a part of it for 10. I came into this space as a student first, a doula, hopeful, a little jaded, I think, a little jaded from being beaten up by the big bad world and having to run an agency and feeling really unsupported. And I came into the program and I found I really like a sigh of relief in terms of that this was going to be a place that I could practice, but also like combine my passion. And I felt so supported by the faculty. And in a world where academia doesn't seem very accessible, like I slowly learned and got to heal a lot of my own academic trauma through the program. And I find that parallels all the time with my students now. And that's one of the most relatable things that I can share with them is that I did come in feeling really inadequate and unfamiliar with this terrain, but then being able to figure out how to marry doula work with institutional education has been like such a privilege and like the funnest thing ever. So I'm really excited for this podcast and to look back over the years and share these moments with, people who've become my family now. Yeah. That's me.
I'm Karen Jenkins, and I have been teaching in the program since we started in 2012, 13, I forget. Someone will have to dump that in.
2016.
It's almost really been...
No, I think that it's been 2 years worth of development.
Yeah.
Very long pregnancy.
That's it.
In 2016, we graduated our 10th class. But yeah, we've been at this conversation for 15 years.
Right. Yeah. That's what it feels like for me. Because I remember coming, into responding to the invitation to be involved in the faculty for the doula program. And I'm a nurse, and I was relatively new as a faculty member here too. So just a couple of years under my belt as I'd been, working in public health all of my career. So I remember though, being a new novice educator, but also just always assuming because of my years in practice that I knew everything about healthcare, where I didn't know everything. I didn't know. And when I remember the moment of walking into a conference, the one conference, and it was like a whole different world. And for me, learning about birth and from a different perspective, the world of birth workers was jarring, but at the same time, eye-opening, because it made me think, wow, have we as nurses ever been missing out on what is really important about the work that needs to be done to support pregnant people. And so I feel like it's been such a growing experience for me to be in this role and being able to learn so much about the different worlds is what I've always thought of them as, but yet how we are always trying to traverse those worlds. And the importance of making sure that we try to do that with our nurses as well, because they need to understand that there's a whole other perspective around birth, many other perspectives really. So that's been really valuable to me. And I think that I hold on to that as one of my big life lessons. And I look forward to this journey with all of you as we talk about the past.
Hi, I am Joshuelle, daughter of Shelly-Ann, who was born of Elaine at their home in Trinidad. I have been a doula for 8 years, and in those 8 years, it's been mostly about birth and postpartum and growing my business and being in community with families that are transitioning and growing and shifting. And Karen just found me one day online as I was working in community and also completing my master's in business. And so I was recently, a student, an online student, and using our Design to Learn, our online platform, as I began teaching within this program. And it was such a beautiful opportunity to come back into the educator and academic space so that I could really enjoy the sciences again and integrate my appreciation for ancestral knowledge and oral tradition. And that's always been a thread in my classes in the way that I teach. But something that's so beautiful about this program we have really is the in-class learning and the mentorship, but also the practicum.
I'm Lorraine Athwal. I'm also a nurse, and I started with the program, I think, in the curriculum development just before teaching. I think maybe Karen found me and brought me into this too. I don't think we had. I remember starting this, thinking, "Why am I here?" And then, and then being asked to teach, and I'm like, "Really? You're asking me?" Because I come in as having taught in this for 10 years, but I don't feel like I'm the educator. I feel like a learner. Every time I enter that classroom, I'm like, what am I going to learn today? And there is so much to unfold. And even though the course learning goals may look the same, the learning that happens is never the same. And there's maybe some themes that we keep building, but it evolves and it changes. And that is by far my most favorite part when I enter the classroom or any of our meetings is I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to learn many new things, or I'm going to see something differently. And so I been able to do that for 10 years now, and that's just been such a privilege, and I'm really just so grateful for it.
And where were you before the 10 years?
I was in public health.
Thank you. I think that's really important.
At the beginning.
Oh, no, yeah. Not first day of teaching.
I know. I don't love starting at the beginning. Yes, I worked in public health in Healthy Babies, Healthy Children program in Kingston, visiting lots of new postpartum moms, teaching prenatal classes. And looking back now, I was like, wow, what did I think I knew?
Right?
Yes, and it was very carefully scripted for us. Yeah, it makes me wonder. So, and then the postpartum, and that's where I love to sit. There's a huge transformation, lots of emotions there, and so, yeah, that's where I started.
Thanks.
I'm Jennifer Serreras. I am also one of the newer folks on this team, but I've been here a little while now, since 2020. I got to come in during COVID, which is such an interesting time to start a teaching career. before coming to Fanshawe as a doula, I worked in the developmental services world. So I worked in group homes with folks with disabilities for almost 2 decades. And so my understanding of like relational kind of care and care work was quite strong, I think, because of that and because of the experiences that I was afforded there. And so I'm somebody who likes to knit things together. And I have also taught yoga, and I for a long time taught yoga, prenatal yoga and postpartum yoga, baby yoga. The babies didn't do yoga, friends. It was the adults in the room. But I still remember the being able to bring people together in like community, and people being able to find their friends and find people because just this little opportunity was there. And I still see people like many years later on my Facebook who are still friends from classes they took many years ago. So I love the way that things kind of like come together with our trajectories. And I became a doula, I want to say 13 years ago, and have been doing various iterations of it. I did death work before doing doula work officially, and it's never been not an official thing that I did before, but it's been interwoven in a lot of the ways that I work.
So welcome to our podcast, episode 1. Hello, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Jody. I've been a doula. I will celebrate my 30th year. So a doula since 1996 this summer. A doula educator here, faculty member in the School of Nursing, I think, for going on 14, 15 years. In the doula studies program since its inception, since we started to think about what would be possible. I'm a researcher currently exploring why and how the doula's role is emerging in end of life, with a particular interest on the doula's role within medical assistance in dying. It'll be very interesting in 10 years to reflect back on what we were interested in at this particular moment. Outside of this work, I'm a mom of 5 now adult children, a dancer, a licensed officiant, an ordained minister, and all of those things, like Jennifer said, they stitch together. And so today I thought, why not? Let's have this conversation. It might be one of the last times for a while that we get to have all of us in the room together. I also want to give a shout out to 2 of our folks who are no longer with this team, because I think that we have been one of the most, stable long-term teams together. And so I'd like to give a shout out to Kim, who was such an influential part of this program's development, teaching in anatomy and physiology before Joshua joined our team. And so we send love to her. And we also send love to Sarah, who I still believe is at the heart of this program, as Sarah carried such a deep wisdom, such a deep commitment to community and to supporting our doulas to have the best clinical experiences, community experiences as possible. She was probably also collectively our type A personality that we benefited greatly from her ability to keep us organized. And she really was one of the original breaths of inspiration to broaden very intentionally our focus on preparing doulas at end of life. And so while there had been murmurings and that had been consistent that we talk about grief, loss, and death within our program, Sarah taking the initiative to become trained and then brought that learning back to us, we knew there was no looking back. And so I credit her for all of the work she did to champion the development of that. And I know that we all carry her work on, and now we'll be excited how it will broaden even further in the diploma program. And also, we remain in contact with Sarah. Sarah is a remarkable personal support worker, graduate of Fanshawe, now in the community in a residential setting. And we've continued to foster a relationship very intentionally between our coursework and Sarah. And lastly, there are 3 more women that we need to acknowledge. First off, Dr. Sandy DeLuca, Associate Dean of the School of Nursing here at Fanshawe College. Sandy championed our program from day one and always believed in the possibility of what we could do as a program. And we know that we wouldn't be here without Sandy's belief in us and her advocacy for the continued investment in the doula studies program at Fanshawe College. Thank you, Sandy. To Marianne Cron, whose leadership from those early days as the first program coordinator of the doula studies program. We are forever indebted to you. We miss you, and we're so grateful for your continued support. Even though it isn't in the everyday, it is felt in our everyday work. And lastly, to Jill Ritchie, community doula, whose vision at first was to come to Fanshawe College and imagine the possibilities for a doula studies program within the college setting. Jill, we honor you and wish you well. So that's where we are. So let's begin.
Be sure to tune in to episode 2, where we pick the conversation up where we left off, delving into the lessons learned, highlights, and sidesteps over the past 10 years.
And special thank you to Fanshawe College for the space and equipment to record this podcast. And most importantly to Johan Cruz, our producer, soundboard operator, editor, social media guru, and basically our go-to person for anything content creation or otherwise.
Lastly, thank you to our students who have taught us many lessons over the past 10 years, surely as many as we've taught you. We've shared many tears, but even more belly laughs. Thank you for being you.